Oh, what's up, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday night. Happy blood and popcorn, everybody. Hello, I'm TJ Rotell. With me, as always, are my wonderful co-hosts, Denise Pantoja and Glenn Akers. Guys, happy Friday night. It's another blood and popcorn here on Channel 29. We got our beverages poured. Denise is wearing goggles, so you know everything's lined up. The stars have aligned, and we're ready to talk about some chompy, hurricaney dragons called gators in the state of Florida. Glenn, we're going to talk about your pick, Crawl.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite movies of the last maybe 5 years. It's wildly underseen, wildly underrated. Everyone should watch this. I don't know how anybody wouldn't like this unless they don't like tension. Then don't watch this.
Yeah.
Or if you have a fear of gators or rain.
100%.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
There's a lot to be afraid of in this movie.
It is.
You know, down to humans and looting. You know, there's a lot of bad elements floating around into Florida Bayou.
It's true.
Do you say it the same way as New Orleans?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Sure.
That was the voice that came out when I said it, so that's the voice that was there.
Fair enough. Cattail.
Yeah. Cattail. Woo.
Oh. Wow.
Glenn, so as I mentioned, this was your pick, which congratulations on a rock solid pick. You always bring the heat, but tonight was particularly hot. I had some jump scares. My heart was pounding out of my chest. Like this was a legitimate thriller, man. This was a scary movie. And that's hard for me because animals are scary in the real world, but they're not particularly frightening to me in movies. Like Jaws is a horrifying experience in real life, but in the movie it's a shark. You know what I mean? Like baby right. Shark to do, you know? So, you know, I was really shocked that this movie had the impact it did on me because I really wasn't expecting much out of it. All I knew was that you really, really liked it and were excited to share it. So I kept my mind open. And I'm so glad I did. Why did you pick this movie, Glenn?
I initially picked it. It was in honor of Denise, who had a birthday. I think it was her 25th.
It was.
Yeah.
Because
I was laughing at Mo's joke, by the way. I wasn't laughing.
Oh, right. You weren't laughing at the fact
no,
that
Mo
it was my
said
25th
TJ
birthday.
needed a smaller boat. And and I couldn't agree more. Go ahead, Glenn. I'm sorry.
No. Quite all right. I initially picked it in honor of Denise because it has a realistic but also badass female protagonist who does kick some serious ass in this, but in a realistic way. And then
thanks, Glenn.
A little bit of irony, I guess. We couldn't watch it because of a storm last week. I can see the future. But
that
yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah. I picked it because it is one of my favorite movies of the last 5 years. I think it's basically perfection in horror thriller. And I wanted you two to see it because I knew you hadn't seen it. And there's some big names attached to it behind the camera, which is a shame that people haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Sam Raimi produced it, and Alexandre Aja made it from High Tension, The Hills Have Eyes, and the Piranha remakes.
You know what's very interesting?
Piranha 1 remake. Let's make that clear.
TJ, I don't know if you ever saw it. I still have never seen High Tension.
I don't know if I did. I know we got those really cool keychains from the Fangoria con one year.
Those were like the best
we never saw it, I don't think. I don't have a recollection of it. Although I did guess the ending of it.
Yeah.
I like day one trailer drop and our friend Stacy was like, "Oh my god, you guys, this movie High Tension, it's so good. You're never going to believe it." And then I spoiled the ending. And she just looked at me and she was like, "Fuck you." And that was it. And rightfully so, you know what I mean?
I like High Tension. I recommend it. If you don't like gore, don't fucking watch it.
Is it like
a little gore of a doll?
Are we talking like Like
Right.
torture porn gore or
No. Did you see Aja's remake of The Hills Have Eyes?
Oh yeah, it's
yeah.
fantastic.
Like it's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
It's that. He likes his
I mean,
brutal
this was
gore.
brutal too.
It
Holy
was.
crap.
Yeah, there was some real
Yes.
moments in this where I was like, "Oh shit, I can't believe they just did that. That's a bold
What did he
move,
do with a wrench?
movie."
Oh,
And not like you
Oh,
normally would in a horror movie.
oh god, that was so awful. I remember just like I was curled up on the couch like this, like looking at the wrench bit, like, "Oh god, don't do it." But he did it.
You don't often see marrow in horror
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, I
that's
mean, with
true.
that, like, I mean, we'll get into it in a second, but man, did I love the effects in this movie. Oh my god.
Kudos. Yes.
Poof,
Yeah.
across the board, end to end, top notch shit.
Yeah, I cannot recommend this highly enough, and I think I'm in good company. If the internet is to be believed, Tarantino himself picked this as his favorite movie of 2019.
I saw that.
Whoa, I believe it, man.
I saw that rumor.
I'm here for that
I'm
statement.
gonna
man.
go for the truth of it.
You know,
Yeah,
it's just it's one of those things where it's like movies like this, and I think like disaster movies in general are all have this element of horror to them. You know, I wouldn't consider Armageddon a horror movie, but the events that are occurring in it are horrific.
Right.
So I think there's this weird Venn diagram of like disaster movies and horror movies and like sci-fi movies that occasionally when they get just the right mixture together, you get something like this. And it's like, man, like using a hurricane as the backdrop for your story, awesome decision. And the Gators, man, I did not think I was gonna be into the Gators. I
Yeah.
wasn't there for that tale, man. And then, woof, sold, hook, line, and sinker,
Yeah.
pun intended.
I also like. Yeah, nice. That just clicked. I liked it because they were real. Like these weren't amped up horror movie cliche alligators. These were like gators you could see in real life.
Yeah, yeah,
They talk in the special features that they intentionally did this, like that they wanted to make the gators look real. Like they intentionally didn't put one that had a scar across its eye, despite apparently Sam Raimi wanting it, which makes sense. If obviously everybody I'm sure watching knows what Sam Raimi films are like, of course he would want that, and like half of me wants to see that. But I agree. I like how grounded weirdly this movie is.
Yeah.
Well, for one, it puts you very much in the position of the characters because first it's one gator, and then it's a second gator, and then it's a third and a fourth, and then it's a whole lot of gators, and it's a fucking farm of them.
Yeah.
And you're in this situation where you don't know if the gator that just snapped at you is the one that was behind you. You don't know if there's another one flanking you from the other side, like because we didn't have like a yellow, a red, a blue, and a purple gator to tell us where we were in the situation that we were in. It really amped up the tension for me in a really weird way.
Yeah. I don't think I've been this scared by a gator since Resident Evil 2. Anybody remembers that
Yeah.
game? The original Resident Evil 2, because
I
I'm
haven't
old.
played that yet.
do you have a PlayStation?
No, I'll probably play the
Maybe.
I don't. Is there a gator in it? I don't know. I haven't played it.
Hey,
Oh,
thanks
I
for
don't
the
know.
gift sub, Epic.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
hey, thanks, Epic.
I hope the song is playing. I can't hear it anymore on my side over here.
You
I don't
say
know
that
if it
every
plays
time.
anymore.
I think it is playing for them. It's just not playing for you.
I hope so. Glenn,
Yes.
so when you first watched this movie, how did you approach this? Did you look at the director and say, all right, I like this dude's work, I'm going to keep an open mind? Did you think
Yeah.
like, oh, great animal attack movie? You know, like that was my initial thought was like animal attack movie, boring, skip.
I think what had happened is I saw a trailer when it first came out, and I was like, animal attack movie, not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Not something I super love. Not that I dislike them, but it's just not something I seek out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I saw that Aja was directing it, and I was like, that's interesting. And like immediately I was like, oh, he did Piranha. This is going to be tongue in cheek, super over the top in every respect, with dialogue and gore and probably nudity.
There
That's
was
how
none.
there was none. And I mean, I only thought that because that's how Piranha the remake is.
And it's
Uh,
great. I
it
love
is.
the remake
I
of Piranha.
love Piranha the remake, and I love the original. Not so much the sequels of either. Sorry, James Cameron. uh,
You don't have to apologize to him.
I think he knows
No one does.
about that. But yeah, and then I watch it and didn't even know until I saw the opening credits that Sam Raimi was behind it. And as soon as I saw that, I was even more on board. And then after I got done watching it, I was like, holy shit, this movie got slept on, and it shouldn't have.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy what marketing can do for a film. And, you know, this is a hard sale. Like, to me, this is a hard sell movie. You really have to do something special. And, dude, I don't even remember seeing a trailer for this.
I actually read
you know,
that they didn't do any press at all for it.
Oh,
there you go.
maybe they ran out.
I mean, it's possible.
Crazy, though, that a movie of that quality.
I think the easiest way they could have marketed it would have been like from the director of The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah.
And produced by Spider-Man 1 through 3's director, and like sell it incorrectly, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because it's not a Raimi movie, and it's not Piranha at all.
Yeah.
It's not The Hills Have Eyes either,
Mm-hmm.
which I also like.
Yeah, I love the
No,
remake.
That
Yeah, I
was
do
a
too.
really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was, again, hard to watch. So brutal.
Do you want to give us a few, because there's some very, I don't know if you want to get into this now or when we talk about our scores, but there's some really interesting BTS bits that you found out about in the special features of the DVD, right, Glenn, or Blu-ray?
I did. One of my favorite ones that actually has nothing to do with production was that way back in the early 2000s, that makes me feel old saying that. That Aja was coming off of the success he was having from High Tension in France, and had two offers basically to do two different movies. And one was from Sam Raimi because he was a fan of High Tension, and the other was from Wes Craven.
Oh, boy.
And he had to make a choice of which one he wanted to do. And he said it was one of the hardest, and maybe the hardest decision he ever had in his life, was which icon of horror and cinema do I go work for?
Oh my
and
God.
Apparently he only picked Craven because he liked the idea for the movie, which ended up being the Hills Have Eyes remake.
Yeah.
And the person who tells this story in the behind the features is Sam Raimi. He said he sent him a personal letter that was like, I want to work with you. Wow. And Aja had to turn him down.
Oh my God.
And he said ever since
wild.
he had been trying to work with Aja, and like they couldn't get their schedules to line up, and it finally did on this.
Oh my God.
I can't even wrap my head around turning either of them down. I think he made the right choice because The Hills Have Eyes is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not exactly sure what the Sam Raimi movie was.
Wait, was it Wes Craven or John Carpenter that you hate? Or both? It's both. I'm sorry. Carry on.
It's good. It's very good. Thank you for calling that back.
Listen, I'm all about keeping it real.
Anyways, about
carry on.
some of the other really insanely cool, like behind the scenes tidbits or whatever you want to call them. The gators in this are practical, or not practical. They're CGI except for one. I think only one shot. I will give them credit, at least to my eye. These might be some of the best creature CGI I've ever seen, period, in any movie.
I have to agree.
Like, hands down. And it sounded like their team like went to extreme lengths to make it look as real and as like authentic to how like a real gator would look, which couldn't have been easy. But the storms, if it was in the sky with CG, I think that's, I don't want to get too far into the rating part. I think that's the weakest part, but they aren't bad at any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, everything that an actor is standing, sitting, crawling, whatever through, they fucking built and flooded and put wind machines on. Like they literally built the neighborhood and the houses for real on a soundstage in a blue screen in technically a giant swimming pool so they could flood it 2 stories full.
That is wild.
It is.
Insane.
What?
Especially since this didn't have like $250 million to make.
Yeah, it was only, what, 12 to 15?
Which is not a lot.
Well,
not a lot.
Not for something like that.
No. And when you think about it too, like this movie, as I watched this whole movie as a producer, all I could see was great decisions. Like, just really, really, really smart decisions. Because at some point, someone on this chain of command for this movie said, wouldn't it just be easier to just make all the water CG?
I think they even talk about that. And they were going to, and they're like,
no, and you can't. And that's why you have a director, right? Like that says like, no, that's not the vision. This has to be tactile. That's how the movie works. Like we've got to be in a real place with real water and sometimes a real alligator bit swimming by. Like, I would swear those tails were real. Like when the tails were going through the water, that looked real. That's crazy.
They weren't. They were extremely smart with this, which is good. Because they didn't have money or a huge amount of money, they weren't like, we'll just fix it. Like they became smart with it, which I think is what all low budget features have to do, and it usually works for the best in that sense. So like they built practical sets, including the neighborhood, including the gas station, including the house, both stories, actually 3 stories if you count the roof, that they could flood. But they also, when there was a gator in the water and it's like thrashing around, they had a dude in a green screen suit just so they could comp him out.
Oh, wow.
Splashing in the water so they didn't have to CGI splashes.
Nice.
Which is brilliant because it's hard to make water look fucking good. CGI.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
They were just so smart with the way they did everything. I'm sure they very much planned every shot out way beforehand.
You have to in a movie like this. Yeah.
You have to, and I think that's just kind of Aja's style, anyways. But the way they saved money is like having a soundstage large enough and waterproof in America. I'm sure would be insanely expensive.
Oh my god!
Or
that facility just to build that facility would be
right.
Oh my god!
Don't they have something like that at Paramount?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they all do.
No, but I mean, like they do have a space, like at Paramount. It's like
it's
a
the Jaws
parking
pool.
lot during the day. Is that what it is? The Jaws pool?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like they shot Waterworld at Universal, like but again, like those things are probably booked by whatever Avengers movie is shooting for whatever water sequence they need.
Yeah, and then you got to think. I mean, compared to where did you say they shot?
That's how they saved money. They went to Serbia and shot in Belgrade at the port, which apparently they just found like this old abandoned, or not abandoned, but disused whatever dock facility where they would build like barges and things. So like these giant, like hundreds of feet long by hundreds of feet wide rooms.
Oh, that's
that
perfect.
They could waterproof.
Flood.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's wild.
How fun to like everybody likes being in the pool. Like how fun. Oh, I would have had a blast. I'd have been splashing around.
I would have on like day 1 through 3, and then like on day 30, I'd been like, fuck this.
No, I would want to be an actor on this movie, not a crew member on this movie. I couldn't imagine the production logistics behind a movie like this.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like what insurance do you need to make this movie? Like I don't even know. Like because there's a fucking ton of danger in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. And it's
Drowning,
really,
electrocution.
yeah, like bless the people that put this movie together, man. Well done.
Your tanks breaking and you flood whatever facility you're in. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, I can't even imagine. And the other thing they did practically is they had a bunch of wind machines. So anytime they're outside and getting pelted in the face with rain and wind, like that was for real.
Real.
And the other thing they said is they built one of the largest like splash release systems, and it was mainly for the scene where they're in the second floor, and it's the water is up basically to the top of the windows, and it busts through. And
Yeah.
I think I have to look at my note real quick. I think it was a tank. Yeah, it was a tank that held slightly over 14,000 gallons of water that they could release in an instant. So like they did that for real. They had that poor actress standing there in that set with a breakaway wall, and they just 14,000 gallons of filtered and heated water, but still. And I'm sure they didn't do it once.
A lot. Well, now you got to wonder too, like, what does it look like when you got to do another take and you got to drain all that water out? How long is that day? Like,
no shit.
Oh my God, like how many takes do you get in that pool before your day is done? Like, oh my God, I can't imagine. Like, I would never want to produce this movie.
No.
Like, not fucking ever.
No. I love watching this movie. No part of it would I want to be on. Even the Office.
Part. I will never make a movie like this.
Oh God, no.
No.
Yeah,
I'll watch them all
fucking
day.
way.
Buy them.
Yeah, buy them all day. Never make one. Way too complicated.
No.
I mean, I would. Like, if someone gave me $15 million and said, go make Crawl 2, like, I'd fucking do it. But I wouldn't be happy about it. What's up, Mac Morden?
Hello.
Yeah, so, D, first thoughts. Like, what are your initial reactions to the film?
You know, when Glenn mentioned it, because I hadn't seen any trailers for it either, I hadn't heard about it. When Glenn mentioned it, I really thought that it was going to be cheesy. I was like, oh, okay. We're in crawl space and we're fighting alligators. Sure, that sounds fun.
Right.
But, you know, I trust Glenn. I was like, sure, that's cool. I was wildly surprised, impressed, pleasantly surprised at how good a movie it is, just in general. It's a good movie. And even though the character of Haley annoyed me a little bit at the beginning because she was just so like sullen and she was a little sour at the beginning, I thought she was awesome. I loved her. I actually I've got a little bit of behind the scenes here stuff on Kaya Scodelario, who played Haley, if y'all will indulge me. So she apparently entered negotiations in May of 2018. And when a Paramount executive gave her the chance to headline your own studio movie without having to audition in a role where she would appear in every frame of the film with no boyfriend, no kissing, or any kind of nudity, she was like, I've accepted the part, obviously. She said she picked it based on the material and the character, and if it's going to empower me or teach me or test me. To physically prepare for the role, she was trained by swim coaches from England and Serbia, including a former Olympian. And she, for like 6 to 7 weeks, trained and went from her swimming in a kiddie pool with floaties to swimming at a good speed and quite good stamina. And then she actually talked about how like this was the most physically demanding role of her career, which obviously that makes sense. She was like, I was broken at the end of every day. We were shooting 16 to 18-hour days. We know those days. I can't even imagine.
Where'd they shoot this again?
In those conditions.
Serbia.
Yeah.
Serbia. Those are Serbian hours.
I'm a terrible American. I had to look up where the fuck that was on a map. Like, I knew roughly where it was.
It's Eastern Europe? I'm a
Yeah.
terrible American too. I never took a geography class.
I got a
Um,
C in geography, and I remember my teacher going, this is important. And I was like, when am I ever going to need to know about geography? That was my general attitude about everything in school.
and
When
now
am I
you
going to know
know
about this?
it's
Now I know.
for blood and popcorn.
Yeah.
But she
Sorry,
said
Mr. Grandinetti.
she was on set all day, every day. She lost 12 pounds shooting the movie,
I bet.
but gained some of it in muscle.
Wow.
She
Yeah, I
broke a
bet.
she broke a finger on set.
Oh,
She's like, I came home every day bruised, bloodied, and cut open. And she tried to beef up her character as much as she could. She like eschewed makeup, played the film most of the film in her bare feet, because she's like, as a swimmer, she'd be wearing flip flops, and then once she had to crawl around, she'd get rid of those. So
yeah.
it was like, I was really impressed with how cool overall the character was.
Mhm.
Like you said, it is very based in reality. And even though we were yelling at the TV several times for stupid decisions made by the character and her father, it was all really believable
Mhm.
and very tense. Like, that was a really wonderful word that you used. That is the perfect word. There was so much tension. Um, so I'm a huge fan, and I can't wait to get into the ratings. How about you, T?
I would say there was high tension. Um, yeah, I really liked it. I liked this movie a whole lot. I recommended it while we were watching it to 4 different people.
Oh yeah,
So
Oh,
yeah, I was
we're
just
giving away
texting
the
people and like,
ending
you should watch this. This is great. Oh yeah,
of
let me put
our
this in chat.
of our I think of our overall enjoyability already.
There you
But that's
go.
okay.
spoiler alert.
That's the new. I beefed up the spoiler alert.
Spoiler
Nice.
alert, we liked it.
Everyone
D,
Always.
dies.
D, give
Oh
us
my
the
god, that's
spoiler
amazing.
alert.
What do you
Hmm?
mean?
Read it out for us so the people
Oh,
at home could hear it.
spoiler alert. Ah! If you've not seen the movie, played the game we are currently discussing, playing, and do not wish to know how it ends, run! Spoilers! Spoilers!
And there we go. The new spoilers command. So you've been warned, everybody. We're going to talk about this movie in great detail. So if you didn't see it and you're hoping not to get it spoiled, now's
Too
the time
late.
to hit pause and go spend an hour and a half, and then come back and watch the VOD. But no, I really liked it, and I think we are kind of giving it away. But that's a good thing. When a movie's this good, it deserves to be celebrated at the
And more
top and the
people should
bottom.
see it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
highly recommend. 10 out of 10 would recommend this movie. But let's start getting into the nitty gritty,
Let's do
because
it.
I know we're kind of holding back right now because we don't want to, not have anything to talk about for the next hour. But the script, I'm gonna kick it off with Glenn because it was his pick. Glenn, tell us about your thoughts on the script for this movie.
I really liked it. It's a movie that doesn't mess around. Gets basically to what you want. It's a movie that's 127 minutes. That is not right. An hour and 27 minutes. Uh, so it doesn't have a lot of time to dick around with anything. Uh, and it's a horror movie, and it gets basically straight into it in like within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But in that 10 minutes where you're meeting the characters, I think it does a good job of introducing them, getting you their connections, where they're all coming from. I also really liked it because pretty rarely do I like genuinely care about characters in horror movies. But
Real
like the
talk.
scenes where they're having a father-daughter talk, I'm like, oh shit, I actually am pretty invested in this like situation. Not
Yeah.
that like the gator and the flooding part, but like they need to repair their family dynamic. Like this is bad. I want them to succeed here. Which is
Yeah, all I kept seeing was trauma, trauma, trauma.
yeah,
And I was like, yep,
exactly.
this tracks.
But I didn't find it like played out or cliched either. I was just like, yeah, I think this is probably how it would be.
Yep.
I mean, say for the gators and the flooding. Uh, I really liked the script. I didn't think there was any off dialogue either. Like they said some things that you're just like, that's kind of weird, but like that's how people talk, really. There wasn't any like soliloquies or like I'm gonna go do this to the gator because mom or something. Like,
Yeah.
it was just, it all seemed very real and grounded, and I really liked that. So I gave it an 8.5, which probably is lower than it should be, but
Excuse me.
I want to leave room for there maybe being a higher scored movie, but I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest.
But you got to rate it on its own merit.
I know, but I think 8.5 is still a rather good. I know.
Yeah, it is good.
Well, Denise, you seem very impassioned by the script. Tell us what your thoughts were.
You know, it was much better than I anticipated. Much better. I was in, just like Glenn said, I was definitely involved and invested in that relationship. I very much, it was it took a minute. At first I was like, yeah, okay. But I think it really found its legs, you know, after the first little stretch. I was very angry about her decision to use the phone right around the corner from the gator, though. Like, why? Why would you test the fates? Because it's a horror movie, yes, and you have to put yourself in danger, but why? Like, come on. I knew there was another gator, and I don't even live in Florida. Like, I knew where there's one, there's more. Isn't that like the old saying about gators? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's the old Floridian saying.
The old Floridian saying, yes. I was also a little upset. Wayne didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
He did not deserve that at all.
Or as it's spoken in the native tongue. They don't go by the full of gators, they're gonna be two gators.
I think you're still really going with like this Cajun accent.
No, there's so like if anyone's ever seen Waterboy, that takes place in the Florida bayous.
Oh, Florida bayous.
And there's a character that talks like that.
So the Florida bayous are similar to the New Orleans.
I don't know. Me and the actor from Waterboy could both be doing the accent wrong. It's just it's the one, whatever one it is, it's the most fun one to do.
Gotcha. My bad. I really, 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 really had some anger issues yelling at the TV, but
you did.
I did, and then I was also
you spent most of the movie like this.
Wait, hold on.
Or like this.
Which is good. That
like
means
this.
It's doing its job. So I gave it an 8.5. I quite enjoyed it. I really didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did. I'm gonna keep saying that. I mean,
same. I didn't either when I was like, this will be all right.
Excellent job. Like, it was just, because it really could have just been a movie about the relationship. It could have been an estranged father-daughter relationship. And then you like throw on top of it this really dire situation with the hurricane. And then you throw fucking alligators on top of that.
Freaking gators.
That dog's the best dog in the world. You did the right thing, because I would have had angry words for everybody.
That's right.
In the behind the scenes, they talk about that like people, I forget where they said it was. Maybe it was test screenings.
Yeah, I read
or something. That. They were like, "You better not fucking kill this dog." They were like, "It better not happen." They're like, "We've seen this happen in John Wick. It better not happen." Even though that like is the reason for John Wick, but whatever.
John Wick comes out of the hurricane and starts punching the hurricane, shooting it,
shooting the gators,
kills all the gators.
Get out of here,
DJ,
gators!
Your turn.
Yeah, you know,
shooting fool.
So here's the thing. I originally gave it an 8. I've since bumped it up to an 8.5 because of the fact that they didn't kill the dog. That was easy heartstring fuel, easy reaction fuel, and they didn't take it. Yep. And I'm proud of them for that. So they got a half point back. But I initially gave it an 8. You
changed it.
I did. Where's Austonia Night when you need him?
I don't know what you're talking about, but all right.
On vacation?
But but the general idea behind the movie of like there's a storm and there are alligators because it's Florida, and that's the story. Like the general story is kind of meh.
Right.
but then you start to layer in some really good character development and some really good dialogue, save one line, which is this script may have been a 9, but it lost half a point because of a phrase that also lost acting half a point, which was apex predator all day. That did not need to be in the movie. It was completely ridiculous, and I hated it so much that it lost half a point, not only in script but in acting.
Yeah, but I can see a Florida dad saying that.
Yeah, but not the daughter who despises it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I mean,
that's such a crazy thing to say. Like, that's the kind of thing a B character says right before the shark eats them.
No, this is
fair.
This is true.
It wasn't perfect. You're right.
Yes,
much as I'm saying it is.
8.5 for me. All around, well done. Denise,
all right.
Tell us your thoughts on the acting. It was rather good.
It was rather good. I went 8.5 with this as well. It was dicey, like the story. It was dicey at first, but then it warmed up pretty quickly. Haley really, really rubbed me a little bit the wrong way at the beginning. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. And the father was unconscious for the first bit. Crocodiles were great. Dog was awesome. But like I said, Haley, she definitely, I warmed up to her, and she really kind of found her stride. I mean, I don't know if they filmed in order at all, but I feel like in this situation, possibly. Maybe? Because you're like, yeah, you might need to with this script. But
that's a good question.
But I think that aside from the characters' horrific choices, I think that it was great. 8.5.
8.5. Rock solid score. Mr. Glenn, what are your thoughts on the performances of this film?
I am not changing this, but I am putting it out here. I agree with you. It's an 8.5. But
you're not going to change it?
I'm not changing it because that's not my score.
Okay.
It truly is an 8.5. But I agree with everything you said. I love, and I'm blanking on her name, the actress, which is terrible.
Oh.
Help me out, D.
Kaya Scodelario?
Kaya, thank you. I first saw her in Skins, the UK version, not the MTV US version. Don't watch that. Oh. It's terrible. But the UK version, well, at the time I thought was great. Haven't watched it in many years. She is actually really great in it. She is a very, very good actress. I can't recommend her enough. But with everything you said, it gets a full extra point because of the absolute fucking terrible conditions they had to work in to make this movie. Not that like they were abused, but like to make this the way they made it was terrible.
Yeah, 16 to 18 hours a day mostly in water,
In water. It was heated and filtered, they said. But like 16 hours, even in 80-degree water, like sucks the body heat out of you. Like that's draining. That's probably why
your body's running around 98 degrees. So,
Yeah, it's burning calories to stay at that temperature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's surrounded by a liquid that's trying to take that out of you. And then on top of that, the majority of the film for them was in that crawl space. And if you watch the behind the scenes, like the majority of that crawl space, they had a real roof on. So like most of the time they were like this, like including camera crew, everybody down there, sound.
Damn.
That's crazy, man. Holy shit.
And then like you flooded it or semi-flooded it, so it's just damp and you're like, terrible. And then they get outside and they just get like pelted in the face with like 80-mile-per-hour winds and rain.
There will be no survivors.
Like the best scenes for them to shoot, they probably did in a day at the like meet.
Yeah, all the non-storm stuff.
The B camera did that.
She was still in the water.
Right. right? Uh, but yeah, like and with like the actual acting part of it, I thought she did an amazing job. I thought the dad did an amazing job. I mean, that's really the only real people you see in this. I mean, there's your boat looters, but they died well. Uh,
They died about as well as you'd expect.
Yeah.
that guy really enjoyed that hot dog, the half of it he had. Um,
Although I will say, those things are very hot. He would not have been able to pick it up and just bite into it like that.
Power's probably been out for hours.
Ah, good points. Fair enough.
Maybe.
Take it back.
And he was fueled by
I think
greed
I might have just
by that
seen
point.
a mistake. Was there a light on in that thing?
Was there a light on? I was just gonna ask that. Maybe.
Damn it! I hope not.
No, it could have been
there might have been.
an emergency generator light shining through the back of the glass of that door.
It could be. It could be.
It was up against the wall. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. No, Mo, it did not.
You're right,
seem
Momo.
cooked.
It did not. Like the one time I think props didn't do a great job, they just threw a raw hot dog in there.
Yeah, I would not have eaten that hot dog.
They
And
were definitely. It was not on the top of their list to worry about the hot dog.
No.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so I gave it a full 9.5 with a full extra credit point of.
All right.
Because if you remember when we were watching another one of my picks, apparently I like movies where the actors have a terrible time making the movie. I gave it extra point or half a point for the goddamn maggot scene in City of the Living Dead.
Yeah. Oh, the spiders. Blech.
Situational points coming through.
I know, and I still reacted.
Yeah.
And I love spiders. I love spiders.
Oh,
and I rehome them all the time. But like when they're on your face, you're like, ah!
I know, I'd be throwing up. I'd be puking all over the place.
It was rough.
Puking,
it was,
also
it was,
great CGI.
Yeah.
That could have looked terrible. It didn't. But yeah,
Agreed.
full on 9.5 for acting. It's a true, I think 8.5. But the troopers in them.
Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't have worked on this movie.
Yeah. I mean, like I was. I had initially. I'm changing scores left and right here tonight, so get your drinking pants on. Yeah, I had it at an 8.5, but after you reminded us of the conditions, then I bumped it up to a 9. Because, as an actor who's, worked in heat, who had a fire burn around them.
You sure did.
Yes, you did.
The situational stuff is very real and it's very serious. Like, I was playing a silly character, but like, having to remember my lines and put my hands where they needed to be and move the camera where it needed to be while the room I was in was on literal fire, took a lot of constitution and focus. And that's why when you reminded me of that, Glenn, which again, like, well done to the filmmakers, that this huge piece of the movie that was ever present was just felt so naturally there that you didn't think about it like, oh my God, the actors, like,
right.
It was so real. But yeah, I bumped it up to a 9. But they did, it would have been a 9, except for the Apex Predator all day line. Because, not only was it poorly written, it was poorly executed. And I don't entirely blame her because, that's like looking hard in the camera being like, my baloney has a first name. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always going to sound dumb no matter how good you say it.
Somebody clip that.
I hope Ziz is in chat. But yeah. So 9, strong 9, really good stuff. I felt the father-daughter relationship very hard.
You know what?
Yes.
What's that, D?
I will bump mine, and I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to go to 9.25.
Whoa, my God.
Is this 2 changes we have on stream?
2 changes.
That's 2. Good job. We listened to a bit of the Bo Burnham Inside soundtrack before this to amp ourselves up because it's such a happy song choice.
Oh no, Epic, is that right? There was a light on in the store?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
It was emergency lighting. Whatever.
Yep, emergency generator in the back. There would absolutely be an emergency generator in that building, 100%.
And their neon light was on.
Yeah, all
Their
the
open
dairy.
sign. The
Yeah.
open sign in the window. She was like,
all
"There's
the
people
all
up
the
there."
dairy and all that cooler stuff, like in a place that probably loses power frequently. I would say there's a generator system in there.
Oh, that's true. It's probably on the
Yeah.
roof.
Emergency generator system, yeah.
I don't know.
Because let me tell you, as someone who had to, as a child, basically build a sandbag moat around the doors of my family's convenience store, having to throw out all of the frozen goods and chilled goods the next day was awful.
Yikes.
I'm sure.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna go get a drink. Be right back.
Oh, hey, have fun, D.
Thanks.
Change your score too many times.
Yeah, she better start. You know what I'm saying? How's everybody in chat doing tonight? We can take a little break ski here while D goes and gets a little drinky poo. How's everybody doing out there in chat land? And then I wait. And I continue to wait because of the delay.
It's cannon generator on the roof. Yes, it is.
Very nice, Mac Morton. Very nice. Got them goddamn Florida roof generators.
I mean, that might be what they do. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've only been to Disney and Universal and Pompano. I don't know. Good to hear, Mo. Good to hear. It was a cloudy day here today in Ohio. But it was pretty cool. It was nice. Drinking on my Trinity Haze from Crooked Handle Brewing here in Ohio. And
Nice.
it's really
I was
delicious.
trying to drink. Oh, sorry. I was trying to drink some as themed as I could get it. It's a Radler that has grapefruit, which I'm sure they didn't get from Florida, and blood orange, which I'm sure probably didn't come from Florida. But those are citrus fruits. They grow in Florida, so that's how I'm justifying this.
That's good. That's why they call Florida the citrus state.
I brought popcorn.
Sick.
That's not a drink.
No, I have.
Is the drink at the bottom of the popcorn?
Hashtag sponsor me.
Oh my god.
Why are you oh my godding?
Did you put a little vodka in that?
No, if I do that, I'll fall asleep.
During the stream?
If I drink, I will fall asleep. It's been a very long week. I'm already this
you've
tired,
earned
it's a
it.
bad idea.
You've earned it.
There's caffeine in there.
That's right.
In the vodka?
In the Dr. Pepper.
Lies. I know. I just brought. You made me drop my popcorn.
Oh, hilarious. Yeah, hope you continue to heal up, Epic.
Agreed.
And I hope you don't get eaten by alligators while you're on the mend.
Look what I also found.
Yeah, D. What did you find?
TJ Maxx of all places.
What was
Hashtag
it?
not sponsored, but I'm gonna try it.
What is it? Whoa, you're crazy.
Dude, it's candy popcorn. What?
Whoa,
Get out of here.
That's crazy.
Candy and popcorn together.
In a commemorative bucket, of all things.
Is it like coated popcorn, or
it's
is
like
it
pieces of candy? You know, it's like the candy pop, like caramel and chocolate popcorn,
that looks
but it's
awesome.
made with Snickers.
That
Question:
does look
will
awesome.
you be mixing it with the normal popcorn at all?
Perhaps.
I only ask because, from what I understand, I have not done this because I think it's gross. But people put like milk duds and things in their popcorn.
They do.
They do.
And I don't understand it, but maybe it works.
That's 2 thumbs up for me.
Ooh, nice.
You're gonna have to try.
That's a no.
I can't wait. I can't wait to try it. Glenn, because he doesn't have it.
I like popcorn with butter.
You don't like Popcornopolis or anything like that?
All right.
Also, hashtag not sponsored, but I did meet them when they were first starting out. They
Also,
brought popcorn
that
to my bar.
I like
Chicago
Garrett's,
one.
but that's
I was gonna say, the Chicago one, Garrett's. We brought you
I think
some
I
of
have
that
a-
once, didn't we? Or
I have
did
a
you bring
tin
us some
somewhere.
of that once?
I did.
Yeah, it was really good.
I also brought him some one time.
You did. It's expensive, but it's very good. I believe it's worth it.
It's bussin', as the kids
good.
say. Bussin'.
It's
I have no
bussin'
idea what
yow.
that means.
It's bussin'. Um,
Oh,
oh no, Glenn, are you okay over there? Do you need assistance?
me? No, I just knocked my headphones out. Whoops.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
good. We got excited, and that's a good thing because I'll tell you right now, what was really exciting in this movie,
Was.
them dang special effects.
Heck
Boy,
yeah.
howdy, let me tell you,
Indeed.
special effects in this movie were light these on fire in post. Hades, two
Top.
thumbs, way way up,
Top
top
notch.
notch.
Keep dropping
Uh,
popcorn.
Glenn, tell me a bit about the special effects in this movie and what you thought of them.
I think I said this earlier. Your main antagonists of this movie are the Gators, the two for most of it, and then the rest of them later. Again, I think they are some of the best CGI creatures I've ever seen. I think there's maybe one or two shots, period, and there's quite a few shots of them where I was just like, or not even I was just like, that could have been slightly better.
Really?
But I'm not even sure that's accurate, and that might have just been not great quality of my stream that I was watching it from, even though I should have watched this on a disc that I own. Anyways, besides that, again, they, for all intents and purposes, practically made a hurricane. They practically made a flooded neighborhood with rain and wind. It's definitely the best practical weather I've ever seen on any movie. That includes the $250 million they spent on fucking Water World.
Oh no.
Though
That's
apparently
hilarious.
some of that was hairline replacement. Look it up.
Burn. Sick burn.
That
was
cost a
expensive
lot
way
in
back
97
then.
or whatever year that was.
Sure did. Clearly, I didn't get it.
Whatever. No, like the effects in this are great. I'm truly trying to think right now what didn't work or I thought was weak, and I don't think there is anything.
So you should change your score?
No, I shouldn't, because I gave it a very high score.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and the practical gore effects.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't recall many times I've ever seen bone marrow.
Oh my god.
In a
Real
freaking
talk.
movie.
Real talk.
That is hard to watch, and I love gore effects. And then when he gets his arm bit and bent backwards and snaps.
Oh, then it rips off. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Again, I can't suggest this highly enough. Watch the behind the scenes. The practical thing they built for it is even more gnarly. Holy shit. I wish they would have shown that more. They built it so like it basically they like kind of glued it together, I think, so it looked like a normal arm. And then like he did it in real time and it's just like
shoot.
Shoot.
Brutal.
That and like just the claw and bite marks that the people have all over them. They had the best effects technicians on like the three types of effects: your practical makeup effects, your CGI wizards, and your environmental, whatever you want to call them, special effects artists.
Yeah.
Top notch, all of it. And again, with a movie that had less than $20 million apparently, which is crazy.
Bananas.
Yeah.
So I gave it a 9.5. The only reason it doesn't have a 10 in my book, some of the weather effects were very good, but weren't photoreal, I guess. But I really can't, like, I'm nitpicking there. Really nitpicking.
Do you say that as somebody who's grown up around tornadoes or hurricanes? Like, maybe you just don't know hurricanes.
I mean, I don't. And I don't want to.
Yeah, they're pretty terrible.
Though I'm not going to give a story, but I did live through a inland hurricane, which is a thing. Look it up. They're called derechos. One hit southern Illinois, which is where I was at the time, in 2008 or 9.
2008 was the year.
Technically not a real hurricane, but it's called an inland hurricane, whatever.
Fair.
That's Jason Derulo, you said?
Derecho.
There you go.
I love Jason Derulo.
I do too. He's a national.
I can explain what that is, but literally no one cares.
What about all the storm heads in chat that are like, talk about the hurricane more?
Fine. It's basically the storm that happened over you guys last weekend. If you take the cells of those and you combine like 8 of them, and they form over each other, and then they start twisting around each other, but over land. That's what happened. And I think it was 08, maybe 09.
Well, that's dumb.
Over where I was going to college at the time.
Fun.
College weekend.
Isn't nature fun?
It is.
Jeez, oh,
Not
Pete,
when it does that
fun.
shit.
It's terrifying.
It happened the day before. Sorry, it happened the day before graduation at college, and they had to do graduation with generators and bullhorns.
Oh wow!
Next day.
Well.
Anyways.
At least you got it done.
Nailed it. Denise, tell us about your experience here with the special effects.
I gave it a 10.
Deserving.
Because of everything else that was happening, and maybe it's because you were watching it the second time, Glenn, but because of everything else that was happening, because of all the tension that was in the film, because of everything I was waiting to happen or waiting not to happen, I wasn't paying as much attention to the weather, and also nothing jumped out at me as being really bad. So that's good. The movie did its job in that way. I think in that, I know sometimes we do get critical of these things because obviously this is what we're doing. We're talking about the stuff that we think really worked, and we're looking at it through a different lens. This was my first watch through. I will definitely watch through it again. So maybe I'll be more critical next time, but it all worked really well for me. I know that the director watched hundreds of hours. Sorry. The director really did his work. Aja watched hundreds of hours of real hurricane footage because he wanted it to be realistic. And yes, there a lot of those shots were the setting, the trees, and the hurricane were computer generated. But I think it was all, with everything else that was practical and with everything else melding together, I think it elevated the practical pieces, and it all worked well together. The gore was fucking awesome. Like, it was fairly limited, but when it hit hard.
Yeah.
The leg break, oh my gosh. The bone setting, like, oh my gosh. I mean, you could say some of like you could say some of the blood in the water maybe seemed a bit movie rather than realistic, but then again, I've never personally seen blood flood water realistically, so I can't say for sure. I thought that the alligators were really great. Nothing really jumped out to me, and it all kept me well within the story, which is what it needed to do. So 10 for me.
Yeah, you know what? I can't disagree with you. I also gave it a 10. Everything you both said and more. Like I don't really have a ton more to add on that, because it's really just it was really just exceptional work from everybody involved. Like the weather effects guys and the Gator team for the vis effects stuff, like, and the practical effects, like all of it was a masterclass in special effects. It was really, really amazing. So yeah, 10.
It was definitely a true, a lot of times, I know we've seen this before, departments are just concerned with their own department and with their own department looking good. This was a true synergistic or a true synergy between all of the departments.
Yeah.
They all complemented each other really well. Shout out to, it was Rodeo FX who worked on post production for 3 months.
Wow, to do that in 3 months. Wow.
Fuck it. I'm changing mine. It's a 10.
Yes. They
Trip
were supervised by Thomas Montminy Brodeur and Keith Calder, who created a total of 244 shots for the film.
In 3 months. Wow, holy shit.
But you know what? Yeah, shout out to Rodeo FX.
Speaking of 18-hour days.
Yeah, right.
I'm
People
sure
like that.
That's where they started.
Don't get the recognition that they deserve when it's truly exceptional. Apparently, they did make some practical alligators as well. It's like some baby alligators and some practical alligators that were really only used for 4 or 5 takes in the film.
You know, the other thing about the CG side of things on this too is that when you've got a monster walking around on land, that's so much easier to place that monster into the world because it's a flat surface. It doesn't move. You can lock that shot off and get that monster there on the ground and really work with lighting. Gets easier. Everything gets easier when you're in the street, right? Mm-hmm. Doing this in water, which is ever moving. It is a moving surface perpetually throughout the film. Mm-hmm. Like, and then creating these moments where the water moves with, and like you said earlier, Glenn, with the guy in the green screen, like that type of attention to detail is what made those gators look so realistic. They moved and acted and behaved exactly like you would expect a gator to behave. And that's good psychology and that's good execution. Well done. 10s across the board.
And then comping those guys out as well. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's also work.
Because they weren't the shape of the gator that they put in there. So like they had to replace the background that they were in front of. They had to replace water that they were obstructing. Like comping apparently is one of the worst things for CG artists.
I can't even imagine.
I watch a different YouTube channel about CG artists and they talk about CG effects. It's really great.
Well, Davis works in visual effects and
I'd be curious to know Davis's take on this.
Yeah, I would love to hear Davis's thoughts on this movie. Look for it in the Discord. But yeah, Davis, go watch Tans across the board. Yes. And let's move on to what I think is another fantastic part of this movie, which is the production design. Mm-hmm. Denise, what are your thoughts on the PD?
Fuck out of here, dude. That is a 10 all the way. They built a neighborhood so that they could practically flood this entire set. I mean, wow. Where is it?
Not practically like people incorrectly use literally, like practically as in they practically did this effect.
Yes.
Yeah. They for real did it.
Let's see, where is it here? Talking about the water tanks, but there's something here. Oh, damn it, I missed it. But the production designer as well was like, okay, and to make the usage of water realistic, he also watched several photo documentaries from like New Orleans to research natural disasters and the effects a hurricane could have on houses without sustainable protection, so that they could make sure it looked exactly right and cause the right kind of damage, the right kind of effects. Like, you know, there's making things look old and dirty and worn out if, you know, it's like an old house and you're going into an attic that hasn't been walked into in 35 years. And then there's like, okay, you could throw some cobwebs on that and, you know, throw some movie dust on it. But when you're looking at something and you're doing the research, that has absolutely got to be celebrated and appreciated, because that, some people will know that. People in Florida, you know, people in Texas, people in Louisiana will know, well, I mean, that's not exactly how it works. But those are just a few states in the scheme of the overall world that's going to see this. But to make that effort, put that forth, that effort, that is a true artist.
Well, and two, you got to remember something. Like, this really happens. This isn't the Chitauri invading New York City and leveling half the skyscrapers. Mm-hmm. This is a thing that people really deal with. They live through it. Their lives are lost or irrevocably changed because of it. You have to serve reverence to the concept, and you have to make it real, because anything else is a lie. You can look and see, and it's a lie. Category 5 hurricane is a fucking act of God.
Yeah.
Like to capture that on film and to do it justice, super important. Well done. You have to pay the respect due to that.
Yep. And all around, again, synergy. I think that everybody worked beautifully together, and 10 for me.
Glenn, what about you, man? A little prod D.
To piggyback on what you just said, what you both just said, that's true. That's the crazy thing about effects. I know we're talking on production design, but to go back to that for a quick second, that's true. Like if you think about it, when we watch like creatures that aren't real, like the Chitauri or whatever the hell, as long as it's not a Earth-based creature, like a lot of the times effects for that thing will look better because we don't know what to expect. That's why when you see CGI humans, they always look wrong, because we as humans know what humans look like perfectly.
Yeah.
And if one thing is wrong, you're just like, oh, that's fake. And that's why I think the gator work in this is so amazing, because we know what gators look like. They're real things. They're terrifying in real life. Yeah. And if they aren't rendered correctly and real, it doesn't look right. And again, with this, like, same with storms and water and smoke and fire, like real things, we all know what they look like. If there's even like this minute thing, like it moves at like 1 frame per second wrong, you're just like, this looks fake. You're sorry, go on, D.
No, you weren't finished yet. I was gonna go after you're done.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we've talked about it before, since we're a little bit on effects right now. Again, how we prefer practical, and practical, always try and go with practical, and that CG should enhance, and that, like, it was a great marriage. I mean, I'm going to say it again and again and again.
Real talk.
That it did what it should do.
100%. I'll get back to our category, I guess. We take notes in case anybody wonder how we do this show. On my notes, I literally wrote one line, all bold. It just said, they built this shit for real, for production design. And like, I wish I could end there, and I'll be quick about it. But they did. They built this shit for real. They built that neighborhood. They built that gas station. They built that house, 3 levels of it. The other thing if you don't know about film production, and like, I've never really worked on anything where they flood things, but when you do flooding sets, you have to use specific materials and paints, because that shit will leach into the water and make it unusable. Like, it'll just turn it into like black mucky water, and you can't see through it. So like, they had to use like
camera
fake
in
dirt.
there.
Yeah.
And they had their eyes open underwater. The father, he actually trained to keep his eyes open underwater for long periods of time. Like, they put work into this, and yeah, like you said, Glenn, they wouldn't be able to see. And
no, they wouldn't
get in their eyeballs.
Like, they couldn't see, the camera couldn't see through it. Like, they're walking around on dirt in there, but that wasn't real dirt.
Right.
Like, that's fake water set dirt. I don't know what that is. But like, they didn't use real paint on those walls, I'm sure, because it would have leached into the water. It would have made it mucky. They couldn't have used it. Like, the crazy amount of just extra shit because they did this for real. I wish I could give it a higher than a 10, which I did give it. Like,
I mean, I guess you can. We make the rules.
True, but that skews our system.
Yes, it does.
And again, like, they didn't have $200 million. Like, the crazy amount of work they did and made it look good. Like, they didn't Leprechaun to it with their budget. And they just starched some sheets and were like, it's a cave.
Leprechaun 2 will always be our low bar, I think.
I think so.
I mean, yeah. Anyways, 10, but deserved like a 15. Like, this had some of the this had like Disney Marvel level production design
Yeah.
with a tenth of the budget or
Yep.
less.
I kept it 10.
Did you
Anthony.
give your thoughts yet?
I did. I gave it
Yeah.
a 10. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
I just wanted to double check because you gave it a 10 and Glenn gave it a 10 and I also gave it a 10. No surprise. This is a fucking feat of production strength, the likes of which you don't see at this budget range. Fucking kudos to everybody involved.
Ever.
Or even in higher budgets sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, like, well, because there's easier ways to do this. They don't look as
cheap
good,
as usually.
but there's easier ways to do this, and to do this all practically is a fucking dynamo. This movie is like the personification of the phrase "putting your money on the screen." This I would love to meet the producers of this movie and just talk to them about how this was made, because that's like inspiring to see a movie at that budget level put up that kind of show. Like, holy shit.
I want to meet every department.
Yeah, really and truly. I'd love to sit down and talk to all these people, because what an awesome time.
Shake their hands.
Like, I guarantee they didn't have 1,500 CG artists working on this.
Yeah. No.
They didn't have like
unlikely.
8 production design crews.
Yep.
Yeah. Real talk. Real talk. Who wants to tackle wardrobe first? Let's throw it out there. Let's see if somebody's got some strong feelings about it. Denise, Glenn, wardrobe.
Glenn, you go first.
Again, this is usually the one where I don't have a lot of insight on. Nothing struck me as right or wrong, which to me is a good thing, unless you're like going for some sort of artistic choice as like aesthetic. I thought it was kind of cool that they, like, she clearly was University of Florida. They're the Gators, or is it
Gators?
Whatever. I don't know who the Gators
whatever.
are.
She was clearly whatever school is the Gators, but they didn't like overtly do it. It was just kind of like her cap is like, oh, okay, nice foreshadowing nod.
They're the Florida Gators.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's University of Florida or Florida State. I don't follow sports things.
I don't do the sporting. This is as close to sports as I got tonight.
You're right.
I was watching the swimming events. Yeah,
nothing seemed wrong, or like, why is she wearing a fedora? Like, you know what I mean? So maybe I should have gone higher, but I gave it an 8.5. And like, not because I'm dismissing this category, it's just like, it's like editing and or usually sound. Like, if there's not much said about it, it's done its job very well.
Right. I'll go next.
Okay.
And thinking about this actually got me to change my script score. Boom.
Ooh.
Boom. I went up to...
Thanks, Epic.
What? Oh, Epic.
It's U of Florida.
Oh. I went up to a 9 because I have to say kudos to the writers and the producers and the director for the exact reasons that what is it, Kaya chose this movie. She didn't have to have some ridiculous love story. She didn't have to kiss a guy. She didn't have to be be naked. And even when she was in the water, they didn't find a reason for her to strip down to her underwear.
Yep.
Fuck yes. They get another half point for that. They might even get another point for that, because that is so unheard of.
That's a good point.
And it goes into the wardrobe as well. Like, I gave it a, where are you score? I gave it a 9.5. Nothing was like super special for me where I was like, oh, that's really cool. Because this was, as we've talked about before, there's a difference between costume and wardrobe design. Wardrobe design is crafting the look of the character with pre-existing pieces, and costume design is designing actual pieces that are used specifically for these characters, like, dresses and outlandish costume pieces like Effie in Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And they're both
That was her name in Skins in the UK. That's funny.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
They're both
funny.
equally amazing. And the dad, good outfits, nothing. The police were wearing what they were supposed to be wearing. You have that, everybody was in proper swim attire when they were at their practice meet. And she was wearing 100% what she would wear as a college student swimmer. And then all she lost were her flip-flops. It was all 100% accurate, and I thought it was great. It was done well.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about this. Like, they could have easily written a exploitation-ish line and just been like, she could have been like, I know swimming and this will create drag, and just goes, Mah.
Right.
And then like swims through the tunnel, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm giving it a whole extra point up in script. Yes, I'm changing it yet again. I'm giving it a 9.5 for that.
That's like
because
Dang.
it's not, especially in horror. We rely on TNA a lot.
Yeah.
Right? A lot. But to have, even in like regular, you have romantic comedies and you have dramas, even in those, there are, certain expectations put on female characters that there has to be, if there's something wrong in her life, it must be due to a guy, or it must be because of her love life. And this was a family story about a family issue, and she was just a college student going home to help her dad, and they happen to fight some alligators. 2 thumbs up for me in general. I'm sorry, we're not at the end yet. Carry on, TJ. Wardrobe.
Yeah, I think the big thing here for wardrobe is, like you said, it was pretty simple. But I think the big thing about this was that all of that wardrobe had various iterations throughout the film that had to be kept proper with consistency. Not to mention the fact that it's wet. That's also a continuity issue to keep up with wardrobe.
Pieces.
So I stagger to think what that wardrobe truck looked like, because all I can imagine is like 50 orange t-shirts and 50 other t-shirts and 20 utility belts, and just like all this amazing continuity work. And it all felt very natural. Everyone was in everything they should have been in. Dad wasn't rocking a lavender tuxedo, you know what I mean? Like
although
as cool as that would have looked. Yeah, ruffled chest piece and all. Yeah, I gave it a solid 9. I thought it was really excellently done for being so simple. I thought it was well executed, and kudos to the wardrobe department. I think for the first time on the show, I think we're gonna take a quick break. I've got this fantastic "we'll be right back" card. Let's take a quick 2-minute break, everybody, and we'll see you right back here for more Blood and Popcorn in just a moment. Till then, watch out for alligators, because there might be one right behind you. And we are back, everyone.
Ah,
Is that a skeleton mug full of the
it's
doctor's goodness?
the doctor's pepper.
The old peppery doc, they called him in the Wild West. Welcome back to Blood and Popcorn, everybody. If you just got here, which I don't think you did, I'm TJ Rotell, and with me are my fearless horror hosts, Denise Pantoja and Glenn Akers. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a pleasant break.
It was lovely.
I restocked. I switched over to the Nat Daddies.
I did not.
Or as that's what I call the Natter Days, the Natural Light Natter Days, the strawberry lemonade ones. They're really good, and at me. Yeah, natural sponsored by Natural Light.
Natty Daddies.
My friends back home would be so proud.
I gave you a lot of money in college.
Give it them Nat Daddies. Great. Well, here we are in the back nine, as it were, here for the popcorn buckets. We're about halfway through this guy, and up next we're going to talk about the music. Glenn, what are your? Actually, well, you went last time. Denise, you go first this time. Oh. Denise, tell me about the music in this movie.
You know what? I don't remember the music at all.
I don't either. I'm glad you said that.
I was like, shit. I cannot point to a single moment. And I think that's a good thing. I think because I was so involved and invested in the movie. I was like whatever happened had me in the moment. So, I don't know, 8.5?
8.5, big score for something you don't remember hearing.
8, but I mean, it's there, right?
Was it? I don't know if it was there.
It had to be there.
I'll have to go back and rewatch the movie.
And let me tell you
why.
No, because listen, I did find some information. They had their original composer left due to creative reasons, so then they had to have somebody compose the score in under a month for the whole movie. Was Max Arouge and Stefan Thum, or Thum, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And Aja was worried that it wasn't going to be done, that it was going to push the date back.
Oh, that would have been bad.
But yeah, the pair were able to work together to create a seamless score, which
whatever the hell they did worked.
They kind of did, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it is like usually we're like, well, I didn't notice anything wrong, so like 7.5. But again, like it also didn't take me out of it.
Mm-mm.
And I was very invested in the movie. Like Glenn said, I had my face covered half the time because I was like so concerned about what was going to happen next. So yeah, I'm going to stick with my 8.5.
8.5, solid choice. Glenn, what about you, man? What about the music?
I agree with you, D. I'm glad you said that. Like, as I was doing my notes, I was like, oh shit! Like I literally can't think of any music in this. Like there's no way that there wasn't any, because that's so not how cinema works.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think we would have noticed, but I think we would have noticed it.
Unless the movie's that good.
Maybe. Like there are movies that don't have music. They're few and far between, and it's usually art housey. Mm-hmm. Not that there's anything wrong with art house movies.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan.
Just kidding.
Okay, so we're not watching this next. There had to be music, but I can't think of a cue of any. Yeah. And I hate to say that makes it good, but it does, because like I said, or like you said, you were fully tense. You were watching it like this or like this or like this the whole time. And even watching this as a second time and like getting enjoyment out of watching you two see it being all tense, like I was still tense watching it, and I knew what the fuck was going to happen.
That's awesome.
So like if the music would have been off, and I think even if it wasn't there, it would have rang not true, or you're just like, why is it so silent here?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's raining the majority of this movie, and that's a sound, but like I think there's music. I literally am gonna have to watch this again to see
Yeah.
what the music is doing.
It's the music watch through.
They're actually just playing the Sound of Music soundtrack through it, and you're just like, oh, this movie's so good.
He's alive.
With the sound of
Oh, I didn't give it. I gave it exactly the same score as you,
alligators.
an 8.5, because
Okay.
I was just like, it worked.
Yeah, whatever happened, it TJ,
See,
did you
this is
hear
where our
music?
paths. This is where our paths diverge.
Oh, you
Hated it.
Not by a
He
ton.
hates it.
No, here's the thing. I gave it a 7 originally. I gave it a 7 because I didn't remember it, and you know me in music, I like to remember it at least a
Uh-huh.
little bit. The fact
Yeah.
that all three of us couldn't remember if there was music or not, that's a problem, right? Like there's a little bit of a problem there for me. That's my 2 cents on it. However, I bumped the score up to an 8 just out of sheer trust for this movie. Like everything else is so exceptional. I can't imagine. I'm not gonna dock them a point because it was so perfectly woven into the movie that I didn't recognize it. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna celebrate that fact because music is a big part of the experience for me. But I will
Mm-hmm.
give credit where it's due. That everything else in this was so amazing. I can't imagine that they dropped the ball in music. So I went with 8.
And you
Oh,
said
Oh,
it
and
wow.
yeah, you know
perfectly.
what? And there's the half a point. Thank you, Mo. Thank you for that. 8.5, half a point extra for the end credit song. I even commented on it and I
You
forgot
did.
about it.
No, he said it
Yes.
hurt him. He didn't like it.
Oh,
No.
but I loved it. I thought it was a perfect choice.
Honestly,
It was great.
my my notes here are a shit on Zack Snyder. I actually liked the end song.
I did
It,
too. You know what it
I think,
reminded me of? 80s movies.
yeah.
Like
Oh, that's a good
when
point.
you would get like like you'd have a really hard and scary like last minute jump scare and then it breaks into something super happy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
That hits me inside. Thank you for the reminder, Mo. 8.5 for me on the music. Kudos to the end song.
I think it worked, and maybe this is just me being biased, but I do like Zack Snyder, but I'm going to use him as an example here.
I am
It,
going to use him as a punching bag again.
yeah, again, whatever. He makes so much money, he doesn't give a shit. Like I think the reason it worked for me here is because there wasn't any pop normal music in this at all,
Hmm.
and like it's a song picked out of like on the nose irony. Like obviously this song is cheesy and kind of dumb to pick, but
It's
it
a bit of the
works.
old tongue in cheek.
Like let's take a an imaginary sachet into like how Zack Snyder would have made this.
Yeah.
Like when they're in the boat and the levee breaks, literally he would have played "When the Levee Breaks" by fucking Zeppelin, and he
Mhm.
would have just been like,
He'd have been like, I'm
okay,
so cool. I'm Zack Snyder.
and he's like,
Look at me and
it's
my
the
ability to
title,
license expensive music.
and it's just like that
Do you
didn't
think all he
work.
does is like do search? He just when he's looking for music, he's like he does a search of what the actual
Yeah.
scene is, and that's how he finds his
Levee
music.
breaks. Ooh, Led Zeppelin. Add to cart.
No, he puts all of his song thought into the opening credits because his opening credits are always pretty good.
True.
And then he's
He
like,
blows his wad.
yeah, and then he's just like, Google, what is cliche song for a scene with this?
He's a peak too sooner.
Oh,
Right.
that's so funny.
Does anybody know what that's from? That phrase?
Peak
It was
too
a peak
sooner?
too sooner. Yeah.
I don't know. The way
Like
you
saying
just said
somebody
it, I would
peaks
think
too
Drop Dead
soon.
Gorgeous, but I don't know.
I don't think so. Okay, carry on.
Uh, well, just right along with its sibling music is
Hmm.
the other half of the coin that goes in our ear holes, and that's sound
I
design.
I do remember the sound design though.
Hmm.
Hell yeah, I do. Uh, who wants to go first on sound design? I don't remember. I'm having a
Oh,
hard time. I'm struggle busting it tonight.
I mean I don't. I, everything sounded. I'll go first. I gave it a 9. Everything sounded great to me. The splashes, the pipes hitting the pipes, the swimming, everything worked well for me. Nothing really jumped out as being oh, wow, that's amazing, or oh, that was terrible. But again, this whole movie, it was all about synergy for me. And so I'm going with a 9.
9, solid score. Glenn, what about you, man?
I also gave it a 9, but because this seems to be the movie where we change scores. I'm flirting with changing it
2.
I'll tell you, I have
higher.
a different score than both of you.
I'm flirting with changing it higher, though I am guessing by your reaction that you're not. I, again, like this movie to me was just basically about realism to its line, like taking realism as far as it can go to make it as scary as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of the sound design rang untrue or like super heightened to an extent where you're just like, what the fuck? Like they weren't doing the hyper stylized like Requiem for a Dream. If anybody's seen that, like when they do the drugs and like the eyes dilate and it's like and like, you know what I mean? Like the
Right.
super stylized sound design, which I love. I love that movie.
You have mentioned it like
It's
every
one of my
other
favorite
week.
movies.
No
It was
joke.
one of
It's fucking
I know.
awesome. What a crazy acid trip of a movie that is.
It's the one that always sticks in my mind with like super loud, super whatever, granular, however you want to say it, like to the point sound design. Probably because I saw it when I was way too young, but whatever. uh, the I think a good way to say it, I think the sound design was really well done in this movie is like the majority of this was in water. A lot of it was done during rain. I have a feeling they post dubbed a lot of this movie, and you can't tell.
Yeah.
Like maybe they had on set dialogue when it's raining, but I kind of fucking doubt it because I don't know how that would have been usable.
It's a fine question.
Maybe they did. I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that. And I will say, like, they heightened the sound a little bit when it needed to. Like, you heard bones breaking and tendons snapping and marrow grinding on bone and wrenches when you need to. But I think it all lived in the world of like realistic realism.
Mm-hmm.
The real.
Like when he would, if somebody really did that with the wrench and your utility belt and you snapped your leg back into, like you, in your memory, you would hear that as really loud and squishy and gross. Yeah. So like I gave it initially a 9, and now I'm trepidatious to say I want to change it.
Do it.
I'm going to change it to a 9.5.
Boom.
Because that seems like the theme of today.
I love it.
Fair enough.
Anthony Rotell.
I'll get right to it, kids. I gave it a 10. And you should get used to hearing that number. Because for the rest of this show, we may experience that on several occasions. I gave sound design a 10 because either they captured live audio in the water or in torrential downpours with 80-mile-an-hour wind machines, or they dubbed it.
But how?
In either direction, it was the best I've ever seen.
Right.
So
either way, how?
Either way, it deserves, in my opinion, a perfect score, because I've shot in the rain, and that audio is trash. It's always trash. How did they do this movie?
That's the other thing I just thought about. Like, you shot in real rain, and that audio is trash. Movie rain, like the droplets are this big, so they just put up on screen, and they sound like bombs going off.
Yeah. I think we need a sound effect for changing a score, because I'm changing my score to a 10. I'm changing because you're right. Because also, or I'm sorry, are you done?
No.
I was just going to say the sound effect should be a beer cracking, but
I'll record that later.
TJ, carry on, and then I'll
Yeah, and I think that the alligator sounds were really good, and I would be willing to bet that if you watch this movie in like 7-1, it would
Yeah.
be you would be in the fucking basement with them. Just
Oh
Oh,
from
yeah.
this.
from the two channel audio that I was hearing out of my TV was left and right balanced.
Mhm.
So like this movie, it would feel like an alligator is behind you. I would bet.
It would be like
Oh
Um,
yeah.
one of the top five. This Heat, Swordfish
yeah, so good,
for surround sound.
so good sound design. Everything, the walking on the floorboards and the
Mhm.
hitting of the
Yeah.
little nook thing, and like, oh my god, toe head to toe, 10 out of 10, 10 fucking 10, strong
Mhm.
10. um Denise, what
Woo,
did you have to
woo,
add to
woo,
that?
woo, 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 woo. Changing my score to a 10.
Oh, there
Agreed.
it is.
Just like you were saying, how did they do it? Because you usually people go with lavalier mics, the ones that are like
Yeah.
hooked onto somebody's clothing, because you want to have something that is close enough to their mouth, you can catch it all. You can't do that in water. It's
Yeah,
it,
remember, the camera team and the actors for 80% of this movie were on all fours. That's about that's less than 3 feet from floor to ceiling. You're dealing with there. Where'd they stick the mics when the water came? Where did they stick the microphones?
even if they did it practically, or if they did it like you said in post, if they did ADR, hot shit is what this is. Like
Right.
hot shit. Like damn, that's amazing, because if they boomed some of it, it sounded phenomenal. And then
Oh,
if
Yeah.
they recorded it, they matched so well. Like the first time, I was so upset. It's not a great movie to begin with, but I love the music. When I first watched Phantom of the Opera on DVD,
oh
I
God.
was absolutely appalled at how the sound does not sync up, or at least when it first came out. I don't know if they released it. The sound does not sync up with the fucking movie, and
Terrible.
it
Yeah.
drives me like up the wall. Oh my gosh. So it is, it's not, I mean, that's not an ADR thing, but all of these things are so important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They all go hand in hand with each other. And the sound, um, the sound mixer did an amazing job on set. The sound designer did an amazing job. I'm missing somebody, right?
I don't know, man.
Um, you know, boom up, ADR, like
Yeah.
everybody, the actors who, if they did ADR it, matching up, it's not everybody can match up to themselves. I think we've talked about this before. Not
Well, and
everybody
just the
can
mix,
match themselves.
the mix, and how do you match? That's why I don't think they could have done this in post, because it's hard enough to match ADR in an environment that doesn't completely destroy the audio and make it look out of place.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you matched a fucking 3 foot. Like, what did they build a booth in a 3 foot room and create
Yeah.
identical water? Water absorbs sound.
And,
Concrete
yeah.
amplifies sound. So what did they do? Like, it's an enigma. God bless that
It's
sound team.
it's true. Like the more we talk about this movie, I'm not sure this is actually a movie, and this is just not like a collective hallucination we're having. Like I'm not
It's
sure
our
this thing
perfect
got.
movie.
Did this
Yeah.
get made? Like, and how?
It's
Like
just
the three of us make
It's the
movies. Like
fucking
how?
Mandela effect.
I don't know how it fucking happened.
So good.
I'm happy it did. I'm so happy it did. And what I'm also happy about is the camera and lighting in this film.
True that.
Who wants to take point on C&L?
Glenn, this is your thing.
It
This
is
one
and
of your bigger things.
I have I have a feeling I'm going to change this score.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it right now. I haven't even done it yet.
I'm done. I got all my scores for the rest of the show.
It they're tens. It again. It's great. I don't really know how they did it. Like, I'm not sure they ever had a camera that didn't have a bag or an underwater housing on it. Which, fuck, doing that the whole time. Seriously, I've said that word a lot, but I don't know. Most of my notes are like some of my favorite shots, which is more of a an Aja and DP thing. I'll name what I thought was really great. Some of my favorite ones were the first boat kill when the guy's screaming like to camera, and behind him his friend is getting eaten and he doesn't even know. Like that's just
Yeah.
that's great background horror where you're just like, fuck, you're gonna die and you don't know it. And like immediately after that, the convenience store mirror thing.
Oh yeah.
Where they cut away to that and you just see the hot
Him
dog
go.
eater's death from that. Like
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And just like in general, like the camera work in the basement, crawl space, whatever, is just so claustrophobic, but like it's framed really well. Like it's not disorienting in a in like a modern like fight movie way where you don't know what's going on.
Right. It's not too tight.
It's not too tight where you don't like lose your sense of direction, but you kind of do like you would in real life. Like again, it's very realistic. I think that's more of an Aja and his DP thing working well, like synergizing together and like getting shots that just look really well. One thing I noticed, and this is something I'm going to keep as a note for a filmmaker watching you two watch it. You two were screaming about a frame where there was too much space, and you're like, something bad's going to happen because we've watched too many horror movies, and it didn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
They consistently fought, and that was one of the reasons they let the dog live. They consistently fought against those things.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Which was very nice.
That's leading expectation and taking it away. That's master filmmaking. Like, and I know that shot you were talking about because I did the same thing the first time I watched it. Like, there's too much fucking frame in the left. Like, she's right here. It's gonna happen, and nope, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then it like comes out of nowhere. Like that's how you flip the horror movie genre on its ear, which they didn't do it wholeheartedly here, but like they did it with those couple shots.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that was unintentional. I think that's Aja and his DP working in this genre forever and being like, I'm gonna fuck with the audience here for a second, or like the horror audience here for a second.
Yeah. And in just to piggyback on that real quickly, sometimes people do that, but then like they'll immediately get that scare because they're like, we fooled you, we're gonna get you here, and he didn't, and that is
there was a turnaround, like turn to camera left, and then the alligators there face to face with you shot that was could have easily been in this movie at any given time, and they didn't do it, and I respect that because that's the trailer shot, it would have never happened, and I'm glad it didn't.
I think the jump scares work in this movie. There are some, they're not overly done. It's not every second like some of this last 20 years of horror films. A lot of movies of the last 20-ish years where jump scares became super prevalent.
prevalent.
That's the word.
I
said relevant.
Relevant.
Yeah.
Prevalent.
Whoops.
Prevalent.
We followed you.
Like nuclear and nuclear.
Right. Of the last 20 years, like, if you watch enough horror movies, you can smell when they're coming or see when they're coming. Like you said, it's just like, oh, it's framed this way, here it's gonna come. And it's only scary because they ramp up the sound so loud that it like jolts you. I think the jump scares worked in this, and there aren't a whole lot, because they are unexpected. One of the better ones is when the tree busts through the window at the beginning, because it's so out of nowhere. You don't even like, they're not even prepping you that there's going to be one.
Right.
It's like there's no like music sting, just like da-da.
It feels very real.
Right, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's just people who work in the genre and are very good technicians and artists in the genre. Did I give my score? I gave it a 9, but I have a feeling I'm going to change it because I think TJ's going to go through with 10, and we'll see what D says.
TJ, you're next.
Okay. So, you may have guessed it, but I gave camera lighting a 10. Um, Again, from a technical aspect, where do they put them? Where are the lights? How did they light a crawl space like that? I want to know. Was everything just on a fucking beaver board? Like, and that was it? And they just floated that shit around the water? Like, did they come at it from the slits in the floor? Like, I have so many questions about this movie that I'll never get answered. Because how did they make it? I get having cameras in bags, but like everything felt so natural. Listen, the camera work in this is exceptional. It's beyond exceptional. It's phenomenal. But the lighting in this,
yeah,
and it's rare for me that lighting overshadows camera. But much like the sound design in this movie, I don't understand how it was accomplished. So, yeah, strong 10. I'm not going to go on about it. It's amazing. 10.
I'm gonna listen.
Are you changing?
I was no. Mine was already a 10.
Oh.
I could take off a point because I was really annoyed by how bright and how it didn't look real her light was when she first started to go downstairs into the crawl space. But you know what? Sorry, cat fur everywhere. I completely forgot about it. And even though I just remembered it now, I don't care because you are 100% right, TJ. We're in darkness. We're in a crawl space with the daylight outside. It's coming in along with the water. And none of it felt unrealistic. I loved the shot of her coming out of the storm drain underwater. I loved the underwater movement, but that shot of her coming out of the storm drain was amazing. It was just really beautiful to me. And of course, there's like the tension naturally. I loved that shot in the convenience store in the mirror. That one was great as well. Everything was just, it was very fluid and everything felt very natural. So yeah, 10 for me.
I mean, honestly, like I've done an underwater scene before, and the preparation involved, and this is the extent to the underwater scene I did. We had to put I think they were called condoms at the time, but it was basically it was like
film
like
lingo,
like a scuba diving suit, but the kind that where it's the tubes connected to the head, like it looked old school. And there was like a Mr. T doll, and it went into the water. It was being baptized in the water of a pool, and the camera went down to catch that shot, and then came back up out of the water. And I just remember the preparation that went into that shot, and the nerves of everyone on set, because like you can test and you can test and you can test and you can test, but if someone walked by, or if a thorn and a bristle patch clipped that plastic. Or there's a bad gasket or seal somewhere in there, that's your $100,000 camera and gone, and your movie's over. So to put a whole movie in a pool, man, that's a ballsy move. Kudos.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
Kudos all around. And then what do you do with
my
it all?
score.
Oh, Glenn, what are you changing it to?
A 10. God damn it.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love this. And of course we get to this point now where we've got it all. All the pieces have come into play here.
Are we at the end? Oh, wow.
No, they are in a dark room with a handful of people staring beady-eyed at a bright screen for long hours throughout the day. Yes. Of course, we're talking about editing, our friends in post-production. Glenn, what were your thoughts on the post process here?
Like you said, those poor souls who have to put together things in a dark room after the other poor souls had to create something in a dark room, the CG artists, and cut it together and cut out the hard work of everybody else. The editing, yeah. I'm blanking because I again feel like my very high score isn't high enough. But I'm going to be steadfast. I'm not changing this one.
Okay.
It's a very good score.
We'll see how you do after Denise and I
yeah, right. Again, nothing was wrong. Nothing struck me as like that's a weird choice. Nothing was like, oh, there's a match problem here. We've decided that editing also does include continuity. Yes, in our ranking system. There was something that I actually put under special effects, which should be technically a makeup thing if we like broke this out into like the 87 different departments there truly are. Throughout the whole movie, or at least the majority of the scenes where you just see a brief glance of her hand, and it's not even established, you don't even see her do this in the movie. Her knuckles are bruised and bloody. You don't see when she does that or why. They're just that way after she gets into the crawl space. And I didn't notice that until the second time go around, and I was like, that is amazingly good continuity. Especially when you don't establish it. Like, unestablished continuity is like next level fucking...
Yeah.
Like, they had basically God level tacticians on like in every department on this movie apparently.
Someone was paying a lot of attention.
Wildly underseen and wildly underrated. The 6.1 it has on IMDb is stupid low.
That is, yeah.
This is minimum 7.5 of the IMDb scale, and that's not high enough either. I give the editing a 9. Because nothing is wrong or out of place.
Okay.
To be fair, I gave it that number when I was giving a lot of things 8.5s and changed them to 9.5 and 10s.
Sure.
Well, it sounds like you're priming up, and as someone who spends a good amount of time in the post room, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this.
And I can understand that in most other departments. But I'd have to say, I think in editing, that's where it 150% is a 10 for me. Because the whole point is that nothing sticks out, right? Nothing sticks out at all. You can have excellent acting. You can have an excellent script. You can have everything beautiful. But if you don't have the right person putting all of the pieces together, it can be garbage. I have taken, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again and again, actual, almost like, I don't want to say literal garbage because it's not literal garbage, but pretty garbage pieces of content and put them together to create something that was, in my humble opinion, pretty fucking awesome, especially when you look at what you started with. And
all the people we worked with are thinking right now, oh my God, was that me? Was that I wonder if that was my project Denise is talking about right now.
Could be. Mere seconds can make all the difference in the world. So the way that we've talked about previously, everything is, and how I've said it, I've never used this word this much in my whole life, honestly. I've never felt it like I did in this instance. All the synergy, all of the...
What a business term.
I know, really. It's I haven't ever really liked that term, but it works so perfectly well for this movie.
Yeah, because you're using it correctly.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it. all
classic.
Everything, how I talked about how it flowed, that is large in part due to the editing. Like when you're watching something and you're as invested as we were, you're as invested as I was, and you feel like you're in the situation, even though I'm dry and warm and cozy on my couch, and I'm freaking out, and I'm yelling at the TV and saying, oh my gosh, why are you taking that phone call right around the corner from the crocodile, and you better not hurt that dog. Like that right there makes it a point of perfection for me. So that is why I gave it a 10.
I love it.
Anthony.
Surprise. I also gave it a 10. Um, Listen, I don't.
I'm the asshole and gave it a
You're
9.
the asshole, Glenn. You're the asshole. Like the thing is that like, I had a much better point to make minutes ago, but then I
Did I
forgot.
make you forget it? I'm sorry.
No, no, no. It wasn't you. I was looking. My
I talked too
ADHD
much.
kicked in, and I went and looked at what I was going to pick for my next movie. Um,
Fuck.
and then I remember that I already picked it in the last episode we did, and didn't have to do all that. But yeah,
Did
like,
you?
yeah, vamp. Um,
Oh, you
Oh,
did.
surprise.
that's
Fuck.
right.
Yeah. But like, listen, like the thing is like, man, a movie like this comes along, and there's a lot of responsibility on post because you're given so much to work with, and so many people have put in so much effort to get to this point, and now the ball is in your court. And be you the AE or the editor or the post soup or the special effects soup or the people that are rotoscoping, like whoever's doing whatever small piece of the puzzle you're touching, what you're doing is taking hundreds and thousands of hours of blood, sweat, and tears. And on this movie, I guarantee it, literal blood, sweat, and tears with that kind of shooting conditions. And you are now responsible for creating what people will see. And man, just well done. Like, I can't go into it anymore. Like, the post team on this did a phenomenal job because that's part of SFX 2 is in post, and just
Mm-hmm.
everything that was done. So exceptional. So amazing.
Yep, yep.
It was all so seamless and great choices, and it was paced well, and it kept the movie moving. And yeah, just a 10 out of 10 yet again. And now we find ourselves at, I think, our favorite part of the day. Not that we haven't been fucking gushing over this movie for the last two
Right?
hours,
Seriously.
but that's how good this movie was. We're over 2 hours, and we're at the finish line now.
For real.
Because it's been so fun talking about this movie. Um, uh, I'm gonna kick it off, 'cause Glenn, I want you to finish this one up, because
Mm-hmm.
this was your pick. But of course, to no one's surprise, I gave this a 10. Um, Glenn, you'd said earlier, you talked earlier about how they looked at the tropes and they avoided them, like the
Mhm.
framing and all that. And Denise, you told us about how that was a goal of the movie. And it's like, the thing with horror is that there's a rhythm to horror. It is very much a musical style of filmmaking. There are ebbs and flows and crescendos and decrescendos and hard thumping beats and picking up the pace. And you control the heartbeat of your audience when you're making a horror movie. And this new type of horror movie, like this movie, and then I would also say like movies like Ready or Not Ready or Not, You're Next,
Mm-hmm.
and House of the Devil,
Yep.
uh, like these types of movies that are revolutionizing horror for the modern age. To me, it's like all music before EDM, and then EDM, right? Like we knew what country was, we knew what pop was, we knew what rap was, and then EDM came, and it was just screaming into a microphone, or like smashing the cymbals. Like it shook up, like electronic music shook up music, because it's just a bunch of sounds, and a lot of people didn't think that that was good enough to be music, and it damn well is. And movies like this, that are because it works. It's a formula. Horror is a formula. It's a recipe, and all you need to do to make a good movie is stick to the recipe. So when you take chances like this in a movie, and you make your own recipe, man, that's exciting. And I love
Special.
this director for that, and I love that whole team. And that's why my enjoyability on this movie is a 10, hard 10. Uh, well earned, hard fought. Denise,
Mm-hmm.
thoughts?
Agreed. 10, 100%. Like you said, they stepped away from the tropes, even in the story, even in keeping their female lead character clothed. And I know a lot of people are sick of hearing, girl power and the fact that women want to be
people, by the
seen
way.
differently.
Yes.
Agreed.
Fuck those people.
But this is so
give us new perspectives. Fuck you.
exactly. This is so important in that a strong female character doesn't have to overcome uh, a rape, doesn't have to overcome a romantic disaster situation in order to come through strong. She fought alligators, okay? Because they threatened her family, because her father was in danger. She went and she saved him, and she stabbed an alligator in the eye with a screwdriver, and she shoved a flare into an alligator as well to let go of her for her survival and the survival of her family. And that's really powerful. And I didn't think about it before as much until we've obviously gone through all this and really talked about it and dissected it. But I mean, hell yeah. Like hell yeah. And it doesn't have to be like this big amazing thing, but it this movie really should be recognized way more for all of the things it's done and done so well. Enjoyability is 10, would give it more if it wouldn't screw up our system. I will buy this movie. We don't buy movies anymore because it's not like we used to buy them all the time. We used to buy them when they were on sale at Blockbuster. Oh, Blockbuster. Poor for
There's
Blockbuster.
only one.
I know.
Hashtag
Pray for that. Pray for that, but Blockbuster. Pray for that Blockbuster.
But we used to buy them.
Prayers.
It's so rare that we buy movies anymore. Like, honestly, it's been a long time since I bought a movie. And I will buy this. And I will buy it for the effects. And I will buy it because I am definitely going to rewatch this several times. So, hell yeah. Glenn?
Real talk.
One, buy it on Dish, or not
Blu-ray.
Damn it.
Well, buy it on Dish Network, physical. Everybody. You heard it here first.
Buy it on physical. For the love of God, buy
physical media.
I'm going to buy Blu-ray.
So that's going to be, Glenn, that's going to be your shirt. It's going to say, buy physical media. And then on the back, it's going to say, fuck John Carpenter.
I'll buy half that shirt.
We love you. We love you, John. I know you're at home watching right now. We got nothing but love for you.
We love you.
Glenn's such a huge fan.
He is a huge fan.
So much so that he fucking hates you.
Y'all, it's only $9.99 on Blu-ray. I'm buying it right now.
Do it.
I dare you.
I dropped $65 on each movie of his that were released only in the UK. Don't tell me I don't love John Carpenter.
We all know.
Nobody's telling you that, buddy. We're just teasing.
Anyways,
man.
We're just saying that you hate him. Love and hate, Tell us, Glenn. Tell us about this movie and how much you love it.
To piggyback a little bit on what Denise was saying, I initially picked this in honor of Denise's birthday because, like I said, she was a realistic yet badass female protagonist. And that's what I loved about it. Though what you just said about, you give it more perspective than I had saw through my stupid male eyes. Like truly you did, like, and that's why I like this show and having discussions about film in general. Like that's why it's fucking great. You gave it more depth of why I liked this movie, even more than like that was the reason I picked it. On top of that, again, like the gargantuan amount of effort and work and trial and tribulation that everybody on this crew, including the people in the office, I'm sure, like had to do to make this thing.
Paperwork.
Like I said, God. I'm not sure this thing was actually made, and we aren't somehow all drugged, and we aren't watching something that didn't actually get made.
We all watched
Leprechaun, I don't think it's
2.
Possible. You're right.
and had a psychotic break.
Again, like the sound design part of this broke my brain. I'm not sure this was really made. You can't record sound in rain.
When we wake up, let's make it, okay?
Yeah, this would be great.
We have an excellent idea.
I'm like truly at a loss of words. Like, I'm trying to read my notes. I'm like, this doesn't do it justice. It truly, if you like horror movies and you like movies that make you feel tense or give you some sort of thrill, which I think a lot of us do that love horror movies, I can't think of many that like keep you on the edge of your seat and you can't see my hands, but I'm like gripping the armrest in my chair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I truly did that the first time, basically the entire movie. The only movie that I can think of, and I've seen a lot, that made me do this more and or for longer was Dunkirk. And that was like
Oh, wow.
a masterclass movie of like, holy shit, I want this movie to be over because my muscles are tired.
Oh my God.
This is like number 2 by like 0.5%.
Oh, wow.
Like, the majority of this movie, you're just like, oh my God, fuck these alligators.
That's crazy.
Oh, there's a hurricane. Cool. That's the backdrop.
Oh, Florida. If the alligators won't get you, the hurricanes will.
Right. Right.
I mean, go ahead.
I initially gave this a 9.5, which I think is the highest I've given it. I'd have to look, but I'm not gonna. On our previous scores, but I'm going to change it.
Do it.
To a 10.
It has to be.
It does. Like, everything added together, like, there's no way. I'm gonna change. There's no way that this isn't basically perfection.
and how like unexpected.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
what
I
a pleasant
watched this
surprise.
out of like, oh fuck it, I'll watch it, and then I did, and I was like, I slept on this like everyone else did. Like, everyone else did, even though they shouldn't, because like Aja should pull in fans, because there are people, even if they don't know his name, they like his movies if they're horror fans. And Sam Raimi, like, if you're a living, breathing human since 1982, and you aren't adverse to blood in any way or slapstick comedy, you should know who Sam Raimi is.
Yeah. Marketing, though, it was 100% because of the lack of marketing.
Yeah, what a heartbreaker.
And even if you don't like horror movies or thrillers, like, but you're a fan of like how movies are made in general, this truly is, like, I'm not joking, like a masterclass in basically every department.
Yeah.
Firing on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Real talk. Real talk.
Like, I can't wrap my head around how they did the sound for real. I've seen the behind the scenes, how they did the special effects. Good God. The acting, even if it was terrible, which it wasn't, in those conditions, it deserved the 10 that I should have given it earlier. I'm glad I picked this.
You gave it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many 10s. I'm never going to top this on probably any movie again.
What an unexpected twist, you know. And now here we are, all very pleasantly surprised, and popcorn buckets, I'm guessing, very full. I know mine is damn near full, and what I assume, I'd have to go back and look, but I'm fairly certain this is the highest scored movie I've ever done here on the show.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
In our 12 episodes, but 95% full on my popcorn bucket. This is a fantastic movie.
It is.
It's a
dark
buy
horse
it.
film. Yeah, go buy it on Blu-ray at your local
$9.99 on Amazon right now.
Amazon or video store.
Or go to your local video store. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you have a local video store, go buy it there. Pay the $20.
Yes.
Instead of buying it on Amazon, and keep your local video store.
You know what? I'll go to a local video store and buy it on Amazon. I'll buy it there as well.
Yeah, we're gonna buy it twice. I get a copy too. But yeah, 95%. Denise, tell me how full your popcorn bucket is, and give me your final thoughts on the film.
It is quite full. 96.75.
I have the lowest score.
Which is wild. I just and it could be too, when you don't expect this, when you're like, I was falling asleep before we watched it. I was exhausted. I needed a nap. And this thing woke me up. And I feel like a broken record, but I was so invested and I was so into it. And it was so, I was so reactionary to everything. So, I mean, it was just a very pleasant surprise and a very enjoyable evening, a very enjoyable watch.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Glenn, what are your final thoughts? How full is your bucket, buddy? Let's hear it.
I'm now ashamed of the number that I have.
Should be. What is it?
it's a 93.5, which I'll spin it this way. That's how far I like to fill my popcorn bucket when I'm at the theaters, so I can put and I can't do the math. 6.5% of butter on top of my popcorn.
Oh God!
Oh man, I fucking love it. And then the salt is like sand. It's so fine.
Oh my God, butter! No, no.
Oh yeah, the movie theater chemical butter from the movie theater in that.
I like real butter,
particulate salt.
Apparently that theater isn't here in Los Angeles anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, you got the runs.
Real butter?
At ArcLight, yes.
They're dead. Yeah, they're dead. Yeah. One of the many victims of the pandemic.
I will always ArcLight directly in camera.
They didn't serve Dr. Pepper, so that was their big problem.
Denise hated the ArcLight because they didn't serve Dr. Pepper.
Because I liked
this stream took a weird turn.
Yeah.
Movie theater.
Hated it.
I'm not glad it's dead, but
the only human on Earth that didn't like the ArcLight.
I mean, whatever.
Well, that's the.
Anyways,
AMC Rumble seats were just fine.
Well, I got
AMC
your
Rumble
seats
were
Denise.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's quite good fun, everyone, and that is also the end of our show. We did it. Another successful blood and popcorn in the bag. Our bucket's very full. Wow. Lots of blood. Kudos to Glenn for Crawl.
All in honor of Denise.
Happy belated birthday, Denise. We didn't get to do your birthday stream because
I know
we were in a tornado.
Should we have my birthday again next week?
I think so. I think that's the only thing that makes sense. But we know what's coming up next
tornado,
week. Oh, God, yeah, we'll have to cancel it now. We'll be.
You gotta stay 25.
That's true. I'm okay with that.
But yeah, next week we'll be looking at Vamp. Vamp is a delightful movie from the 80s.
It is.
That is, it's from the year 1986. I was 4 years old when this movie came out. Loved it at 4 years old. Love it now. So check that out. You can find it. You can find it on Amazon Prime Video or Apple TV.
I don't want to.
It's also on Tubi if you want it for free.
But that's July, right? It's technically the first. How many weekends are in July?
4, I think.
Are there?
Let me see.
Check.
I can check.
Because remember we had plans for July? We had big plans for July.
What were they, Denise?
Do you want to talk about them right now?
Was that Romero-a-thon in July?
Yeah.
Well, that changes everything.
Well, let's see how many, because we got to plan it out. You know what I mean?
We're planning it out. We're planning it out.
Let's plan it out on air.
On air right now. We're going to do it. Let's see here. July's got a
Are you throwing the new Romero?
July has 5 Fridays in it.
Yeah, let's decide which ones we're doing. Right? New Romero, like which one are you talking
Amusement park.
Listen, I'm telling you, I'm saying it right now.
After
Vamp is out. I'm canceling Vamp.
Sorry, y'all.
Ignore everything I said. There are more important works that need to be done in celebration of George Romero in July. And this is what we're going to do instead.
Is this his birth month as well? Right? Is that why we decided it?
I don't know, Denise. Let's find out.
Let's find out. It's TJ's birth month is July.
Damn right it is.
And Romero's one of his favorite all-time filmmakers. So
Yep. He was
obviously.
born July 16th.
That's
Oh, no,
why.
I'm sorry. He died July 16th. That's why we're doing it. We're doing
In
it in
honor
memoriam. He was born in February, died in July. July 16th,
That's right, because February had
2017.
already passed. So we were like in honor of George Romero.
Yeah, so this will be in
Only the
memoriam of
best
George
are born in
Romero.
February.
Glenn was born in February.
Both my brother and sister were born in February as well, and Glenn, my adopted brother.
There's fewer days, so there's fewer of us.
That's right. But yeah, so we're gonna go through
Somebody
Romero's stuff, and so here's the question I have for both of you, and I think this is a fair question to pose: do we start proper black and white Night of the Living Dead, or do we go for what I think? I know my favorite version of Night of the Living Dead is the Savini version, but that which was produced by Romero, and had his blessing.
Do you not like the Savini version?
I like the original better.
Why don't we do both for the first one?
There it is.
I
love this idea, Denise. Next week on Blood and Popcorn, everybody, we've got a double feature. George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead and Tom Savini's, 1990, 1991?
1990.
Remake of Night of the Living Dead, the color version with Tony Todd. Man, this is exciting. I'm really, 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 really excited for this month. Romero's the best. Romero #1. I know, Glenn, I know you can't wait to get to Dawn. Denise, you can't wait to get to Dawn. I sure as shit can't wait to get to Dawn. And you know what I think we got to do? Maybe July ought to be a whole damn month of double features pitting originals against remakes. So weekend 2, let's take a look at George Romero's Dawn of the Dead as well as the man himself, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. And then week 3, we can look at...
oh my God, are we going to do the Day of the Dead remake
too?
too?
Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad.
And then for the last weekend...
I've never seen that.
We could do Diary and Land.
I love it. That's what we're doing. That's the month, everybody. You heard it here first.
That's only 4 weeks.
Oh, that's only 4 weeks?
So we'll do Land and then Diary. But maybe we'll do double features. There's Survival of the Dead.
Or we could end with Romero's Lost classic that has just now came out this year on Shudder. Sponsor us. Amusement Park.
Yes.
George Romero or Cameron?
No, George Romero. It just came out. It never got released. They just released it now. Like they put it together with his estate, I believe.
Wow.
It's apparently his final not greatest, but like his final takedown of society.
Which he was a master of. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll talk about week 5 soon.
Yes.
Yeah, but that sounds like
good,
a fine idea.
Yeah. So definitely next week we've got Night of the Living Dead, baby.
Yeah, I think we keep the double features going. Let's go at Survival of the Living Dead at the end in Amusement Park.
It's
called Amusement Park, Glenn?
Talk a while.
Yeah, these will all be extended episodes creeping towards the 3-hour mark, 4-hour mark maybe.
Especially
Who knows?
Dawn is very long.
Dawn is a long movie.
Even if you watch the shortest version.
Yeah. We're not. We're going to watch the crazy collector's edition version because fuck it. The best one that you had, the one that you have, Glenn.
We're watching the extended version.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to wrap this up. And we'll be wrapping up this crazy Romero tribute month the day after my birthday. So
TJ,
stay tuned, everybody. We got an action-packed month here on Blood and Popcorn, here on Channel 29. Got all kinds of cool stuff coming up. We've got bonus round on Monday night. I'll be back playing something. I don't know. Maybe I'll do Fall Guys again. Maybe we'll get together with Sean and Denise and play Killing Floor. I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, gosh.
Stay tuned to the social for that. Wednesday night, Denise is back. The Dima Gordon rises again. Denise kicking ass, taking names, getting hooking them survivors on Dead by Daylight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure if this card's going to be correct. It is fantastic. Blood and Popcorn is what you're watching right now. Friday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, Davis and I will be back with another action-packed advice episode of This Show is Cursed, 7:30 p.m. And then newly announced as of, Tuesday night, with our failed Dark Alliance episode is Random Encounter coming. Look for more information on that to come in July and when that's going to start airing. But that's going to be our brand new tabletop gaming show covering everything from tabletop board games to various RPGs around the globe, things of all that fun nature and
Love
such.
it.
Denise, Glenn, another amazing Blood and Popcorn in the bag. Thank you so much for being the wonderful horror hounds that you are. Glenn, amazing pick on Crawl.
Yes, well done.
Where can the folks at home find you to find people? Denise, where can the folks at home find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram at Denise Pantoja. Those are the places. I am the Demogorgon on TikTok, and someday soon coming to a grocery store near you. I don't know. Glenn.
I am on Twitter and Instagram as the Odd Movie Master. I am recently better at Twitter than I was, and I've updated my Instagram to the
Really?
.com, not the .com. Jesus.
Oh, I gotta put that in there now. I gotta change up the.
Oh, your IG
command.
is at Odd Movie Master. Love it.
If you want to follow my basically food blog, it is my name with underscores. You're more than welcome to follow that. But if you want horror movies on my Instagram, I try to post clips until I'm told I can't do that from the police.
Not the band, not Sting, the actual police.
No, because I don't care what Sting says.
I'll do what I want, Sting.
Yeah.
Dang.
Come at
Every
me,
breath you
whatever,
take.
Sting.
Come at me, bro.
Yes. Mostly the Twitter and the Instagrams are what stupid, crazy shit I'm watching not on this stream. A lot of it you can't get normally, but you could ask me how to get it some other way.
And the police come knocking.
Gray Market Glenn is what they call him.
It's all legal.
At Odd Movie Master,
I buy my
it's the
content.
police. It's the police.
Damn right you do. Well, and I'm at TJ Rotell. You can find me at TJ Rotell everywhere popular internets are sold. And folks, take the glasses off of this next bit here, because I think it's important to look you in the eye and thank you all for being a part of Channel 29 thus far. I've been counting down some stuff on Twitter, and as of 5 o'clock today, I am officially self-employed. This is a big step for myself, for Denise, for Glenn, for Channel 29, and for what will soon to be known as Level 29. Look for more information on that. But folks at home, I just got a lot more dedicated to this content. So get ready, strap in, and let's go, because we're about to turn this shit up to 11 here on Channel 29. Thank you all for being here at the start of this. Thank you all for sticking with us while we worked out the kinks. I promise you we're going to be hitting some really cool shit moving forward in the next few months. So stick around. It's only going to get better from here. Thank you all so much. Denise, Glenn, Davis, the whole cast of Monster of the Week, everybody that's been a part of the channel up till now, working up to this moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Stay tuned. There is so much more cool shit to come. So much more shit. We're just getting started. And until we see each other again, take care of yourselves. And Denise,
as we say on Blood and Popcorn, may the blood flow freely and your heart stay black.
Oh yeah, that was the ending you came up with.
That was a good callback that I forgot about.
Yeah, good. Well, on that note, good night, everybody.